Yeah, I see it now.
Okay.
About Google Analytics 4.
Yeah.
I knew that somebody else had installed it and it was tracking. I had the conversions. But when I went to look at the site itself, because I have an iThemes membership and I went yesterday.
Good.
So I was like, are there multiple instances of analytics codes on there? So I went to look and there was only one, but it was the Universal Analytics one, even though I know it's tracking GA4. So kind of confused me. I did the page, view page source, and I only saw the one. I didn't see the other one.
Okay. So we're trying to figure out, are there multiple installs? Or I guess maybe the question is, how do you know if you're running UA, why are you getting GA4 data? Is that kind of the question?
That's kind of it. Like I'd obviously like it to be correct and have the right installation on there, but I also don't want to mess up the conversions that I have that are actually, running now.
Yes. So the good news is it's a simple answer. So hooray! The other good news is nothing is wrong. You might take some extra steps just to ensure, but here's what's going on. So remember I spoke yesterday about the two different JavaScripts, analytics.js and gtag.js, right? It was someone pointed out that the way I was talking about was a little confusing. So if you have on your website the analytics code, and when you log into GA4, you're seeing data in GA4, I know for sure you're running gtag.js on your site. Because if you were running analytics.js, you wouldn't be able to see GA4 data. That's why it's important to make sure you have the G tag on your site. Okay. So in other words, if you don't do anything, everything will continue to work. Apparently what you searched for was UA-, which would be your Universal Analytics unique identifier.
I looked for the GA4 identifier I had as well, and I didn't see it at all.
So what's going on is that your Universal Analytics code is connected with your GA4 profile and is sending data into GA4. Okay, but because you're using the G tag code, it can do that. Okay. Now, here there are some steps I think you should take to ensure maximum future compatibility. Okay. I would add a separate Google Analytics installation onto your website that would be dedicated to GA4. Okay. So, but to do that, you're going to have to do a couple of little things. Okay. Because if you have the gtag.js with the UA identifier in your site, that is already sending data to GA4. If you add another code that only has the GA4 measurement ID, you're going to be actually sending data into GA4 twice, right? So you have to do a couple things. Number one, you'll have to go into your Google Analytics account and disconnect your Universal and your GA4. That will not allow your Universal to send data into your GA4. Okay. But you'll also need to add a new code to your site using the code provided by Google Analytics 4. So you'll be running two different GTag codes, one for UA, one for GA4. The best way to do this is Google Tag Manager. And so the best way to add Google Tag Manager is Google SiteKit plugin. Okay. So the Curious Ants documentation will walk you through all those steps. And then because there's that, I mentioned in our talk yesterday, there's a little step where you have to then tell SiteKit, don't send data into GA, because you're sending it in via.
That's right. You had the tag just on the bottom part.
So it's a little more advanced of a setup, but what this will do is, at a certain point, whether that's July or December of 2023, your UA code won't even matter anymore, right? Because they're only going to be running GA4. So what we want to do is now clean up the code so that when July happens, maybe we even take off the UA code, right? And if it's in Tag Manager, we're not monkeying with themes and stuff like that, right? We're just taking it out of Tag Manager and then only running GA4 from that point forward. But you really got to make sure in the meantime, because you're probably still using the UA code, that you don't break that.
Yeah.
Right. But the good news is, you said you've got your tracking conversions in GA4. That will not change, right? If you make a mistake and you accidentally are still connecting UA and GA4, and then you add another GA4, you'll actually double count in GA4, which obviously is not great.
Yeah.
Right? But you should be able to identify that pretty quickly, because suddenly GA4, every number is divisible by 2, and you're like, wait, why am I getting 2 form submissions? Oh, that's because I'm running 2 codes.
Okay.
But the other alternative solution here is the simplest, which is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Right? UA code is still sending into GA4, and so you could just walk away. And then in July, take off UA and make this transition. Right? You could do that. That anticipates the lowest number of potential variable problems that could happen, and just wait until July 1st and do it on July 1st. So that point forward, you're only running GA4, and you don't have to worry about the old UA code.
Okay.
I mean, is that making sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I spoke yesterday about just the fear of what Google's going to do when we have things connected. Maybe nothing will go wrong, right? I just want to ensure success with my data. That's why I'm going to extra trouble to opt out of the automation and to set up my own code. But it'll probably be okay. People who need to worry about it are people with super complicated, unique Google Analytics setups with audiences and super complicated settings. And I think most people are going to be just fine.
Yeah, this was mainly the only one where I really had anything beyond just looking at it set up.
Right.
So.
Right.
And it happened to be the one that still had, was tracking, but had just the UA code.
Right. And that's why it's tracking in GA4, because you connect within the analytics interface, you've allowed them to be connected.
Okay.
And so I'd almost just say, just let it go until July.
Okay.
And then as soon as you can within July 1st, remove UA and make sure the GA4 is now on there.
Okay.
That way everything continues to track, because I'm sure the UA code on the site using the G tag will still send data into GA4, because they've encouraged everybody to do this connector thing. And if they don't keep sending data into GA4 on July 1st, they've basically shot themselves in the foot. But that's why I typically encourage people to set up a separate install of GA4, just in case someone didn't think about that. No crap. Now GA4 isn't even getting data on July 1st.
Oops.
Yeah, oops, sorry, we don't care about you. This is a free product. What do you want? Says Google.
Yeah.
Well, we're dependent upon it, so not being a jerk, Google. All right, does that help give you some direction?
Definitely.
Okay.